In today's video, I'll be improving the appearance of this BMW 320i F30 by refinishing the headlights, deep cleaning the engine bay and undercarriage, and completing a paint correction process. So let's get into it on Rebuild Revival. To get to the headlights, we'll need to remove the bumper first. We'll start by pulling off this rubber strip, undoing all these T30s, these two T25s. We'll need to remove the wheels and the front wheel liners. These two 8mm. We'll unplug the fog lights. And now we should be able to pull the bumper off. To remove the headlights, we'll disconnect all of the connectors. I'm just gonna disconnect the horn to get it out of the way. Now we'll remove these two T30s, which on the other side I broke one, so I'm gonna use some penetrating lubricant on the back side. Here's the back side of that bolt. And this clip here is supposed to hold a nut from spinning. And this one is, see how it does that? It's because the bolt is rusty and the nut is just spinning with the bolt. Just gonna heat it up just a little bit. There we go. These have red Loctite on them. No wonder why they won't come off. Check it out. Red Loctite. Got one 10mm right here. And one last T30 right here on top. I'm going to remove the hood so I can get this dent repaired and have the whole thing painted. So first we will disconnect the washer fluid line and this electrical connector here, and then it is just 4 13mm. I'm gonna scribe in a small line. I'm sure we'll be able to tell where it goes back anyways, but just to make it easier for me, I'll scribe in a small line. Do the same on this side. All right, at some point I'll use this piece of wood to prop this up. We're ready to start refinishing the headlights. We've got them up here on the bench. First, we're gonna clean them with just some Windex and a brush and Scotch-Brite. Then we'll move on to wet sanding, starting with 400, then 800, then 1,000, then 1,500. After wet sanding, we'll wipe them down with some alcohol. Make sure we give them plenty of time to dry from the alcohol. Then we'll paint them with our 2K clear paint. I like to do 3 coats, starting off with one really light coat, then a medium, and finally a really heavy wet coat. And of course we need to wear a respirator since this stuff is 2K, and we've got our gloves over there. So let's start by washing them. Now we're going to start wet sanding, starting with 400 grit. I may have to go a little bit coarser than 400 grit on these. They've just got some really deep cracks. I want to see how this thing does. It's 240. It's not wet sand, but let's see how it does. Okay, I'm gonna try my DA. I've got 220 on here. Let's let that dry and see how that looks. I think that's as far as we're gonna go. Okay, now this is dry after the 220 on the DA. You could still see a lot of nicks. This car must have been behind a gravel truck or something, because there are just tiny little nicks all over the front of this as well as the front of the bumper. So I was just trying to get through that. So hopefully the paint will fill in some of those little nicks. So let's stop there with the DA and then we'll move forward with the 400 grit again. The DA did most of the work. Now we're just trying to get rid of the little scratches that the 220 DA left in the plastic. I'm not really sure what this discoloration is. It's almost like there's a clear coat, which I think these do come with clear coats. I'm not 100% sure, but it's almost like I've gone through it here but not there, or I've gone through it there but not here. I can still see some of the little swirl marks from the DA, so I'm going to continue with the 400. Yeah, I think this clear stuff is still the clear coat, and then this other stuff I'm getting into the plastic. I don't know, maybe these things have been sprayed before? So I definitely want to make everything look dull like this and get through all of this shiny stuff. It's actually looking really good. A lot of the nicks are gone. It's looking very even and consistent. You can see a little bit of that clear down here at the bottom. I think that's good for 400 on this one. Okay, now let's move to 800. Now we'll move to 1,000. Kind of doing this light in 3 sections. I'm cutting the face into 2, starting over here, and then flipping to a new side, doing here, and then flipping to a new side of sandpaper, and then doing the top. Now let's go to 1,500. All right, now we are done wet sanding. I just want to blow all this off. There's a lot of dirt, and make sure all the water is gone, and then I'll wipe them with alcohol. All right, I've got the area all cleaned up, new piece of plastic down. Now I'm gonna wipe the headlights with alcohol. This one has like stuff on the inside of the lens. So now we'll let that dry for a little bit. All right, now we're gonna tape off the housing. Now we're gonna do another quick wipe down of alcohol. Now we'll use the tack cloth to wipe off any dust or lint. So we have the 2K, so we need to mix in the hardener. Put it straight down and then push straight down. Now you need to shake the cam for 2 minutes. We'll wait 5 minutes in between each coat. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's do coat number 2. Okay, let's do the third and final coat. All right, it's been about 10 minutes since the last coat. They are looking super glassy, nice and clear. You can still see a few little cracks and nicks, but nothing too major. And from a buyer standpoint, they are gonna look super fresh. So since this car had rodents or other animals living, hanging out in it, I do want to do a deep clean of all the areas that they were in, which is engine bay, up under in the suspension, the undercarriage, all of that. So we're gonna start here at the engine bay, work our way down, lift the car up, hit it from the bottom, and then do the rest of the undercarriage all the way back. I've got this engine degreaser here I'll be using. I've also got this industrial purple degreaser here in a sprayer. I'm gonna be wearing one of these because it's gonna get a little bit messy. And I love these orange heavy duty nitrile gloves. They're really strong. So all of that, plus I've got a bucket of different brushes right here and my pressure washer. So let's get into it. Here are some before shots. This engine bay is just filthy. It seems this car was parked under a tree for some time, which allowed the animals to leave their mark throughout the entire engine bay and undercarriage. Luckily, they didn't get inside the car. All right, I've got the DME covered up, a few connectors here and there. I'm gonna soak it down with the degreaser first and scrub some of the areas, and then we'll hose it down. It's getting a little steamy in here. Camera's getting a little wet. It's looking good. I basically did up until the transmission, so now I'm gonna hit from the transmission back. I've also got the wheels, the wheel liners from the front up here, a couple of these lower covers. So I'm just gonna hit these while they're off as well. They're not too bad, but might as well do them now while they're off. Sorry. I'm gonna hit everything with a little bit of air and we're done. Now that the engine compartment has been washed, I want to hit it with some of this. It's for undercarriages, but it just enhances the shine of plastic and it repels dirt and debris. So let's just spray this kind of all over. I'm not really gonna hit like the alternator or anything like that, but most of all of this is plastic, so it should be fine. So I'm just gonna spray it all down and then wipe it off. It says allow to dry for 5 minutes, but I'm gonna wipe it down because I don't want it to be super thick. All right, that's looking pretty good. This was missing the engine cover, but I found one. So let's throw that on as well. Okay, first goes the insulation. Now that I've got the engine all wiped down, I need to wipe the rest of the car down because I'm going to be polishing it next. So when I was washing the engine bay and everything else, it got this just dusty stuff all over the car. So I'm just going to use some waterless car wash and go over the whole thing. I do have the hood being painted and the front bumper. So those I will get back shortly, but let's start working on the rest of this paint. I'm going to cover the engine bay just because it's freshly wiped down. Now we'll use our waterless car wash. Now that we've got the car wiped down and the engine bay covered, we're going to start polishing. Here are some of the materials and the process that I'll be using. As you can see, I do have all Chemical Guys stuff. There is a store nearby, so it's really easy to get their stuff, and I think their products are decent. I thought this was interesting. They give you this little flow chart of how you should polish or do a paint correction, so that's interesting. But anyways, all right, we're gonna start by clay barring. Here's our clay bar. Got their clay luber there. After we're done claying it, we're gonna wipe it down with the surface cleanser spray. It'll get rid of any of the residue left behind by the clay bar or anything else. Here's our polisher we're gonna use. It's a Makita. This is a DA. So I like this machine, it works pretty well. And over to our compound. So first we've got a 36 paint correction cutting polish compound. This one we're gonna start with, and then if this leaves any haze behind, we'll finish it off with the 38. I do like to use their pad conditioner also. It just keeps your pads really nice. It keeps them from overheating, and it just is a good product to use. So first we've got our medium to heavy cutting pad with the Hex Logic. I like these pads, they work pretty well. And then we've got our heavy polishing pad over here. So if we need to get into those, we'll get into those. A couple of rags, of course. And then after, I'm going to coat it with this ceramic spray coating. It's just like a quick ceramic spray coating. You can use one of these microfiber applicator pads, a big one. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's get into it. Okay, we're going to start on the trunk. I'll split it in half and do one side to show you a before and after. Here you can see how bad the swirl marks are in this paint. Yeah, just look how bad the swirl marks are. All right, so let's split the trunk in half. That looks about right. First, we're gonna start with the clay bar. This one's been used on another car, so let's just smash it up and get the good clay back out to the surface. This one's only been used on one other car. All right, and now just spray some clay luber on. Just a back and forth motion, light to medium pressure. This feels pretty good. We'll just wipe this off. Okay, now we're going to go with our medium to heavy cutting pad. Get it nice and centered. Shake up our compound. Put about 4 to 5 drops. That should do it. Throw the cord over your back and dab on the compound. Okay, now we're going to spread it out on a low setting, 1, 2, depending on your machine. Okay, that looks pretty even. Now we're going to turn it up to 4 to 5 to 6, depending on what your machine has. Let's see, mine at 4 is at 5,300 RPM, so let's start there. Medium to light pressure, not a whole lot of pressure, and just try and keep it straight to the surface. Okay, let's see how this looks. Oh, that looks nice. Some of these deep scratches aren't going to come out, but all of the swirl marks are gone. Yeah, that looks really nice. There's a little bit of haziness. I might need to follow it up with that finer polish. So we're going to hit it with this one. It's the heavy polishing pad. Got some heat coming off of there. So on this one, we're going to use the 38, the finishing polish. It's just to get some of this haziness out. So again, 4 to 5. A couple of sprays of the pad conditioner. Throw the cord over your shoulder. Tap it out. Spread it out on low speed. All right, now let's turn it up. All right, let's see how this looks. Ooh, that doesn't look that good, huh? All right, I was getting a little bit of haziness, and I think I was maybe using a little too much polish, so I'm gonna try and use a little bit less. And I switched up the pad. This is a finer pad, so let's try and get all this haziness out. Oh yeah, that looks really good. Okay, let's remove the tape. Whoo! Look at the difference. That's crazy. Look how good this paint looks, or look how bad it used to look. That's not even black. I cannot believe how bad that paint was. Wow. Okay, now I need to go around and clay the rest of the car, so I'm gonna do that quickly. All right, now we'll go around and use the Wipeout Surface Cleanser Spray. This will get rid of any residue left behind by the clay bar or any other waxes or sealants that are on the paint. Okay, now that we've used the wipeout spray over the whole car after clay barring it, we could start polishing the rest of the car. I'm gonna try this microfiber pad instead of the foam pad. I think it's gonna give us a little bit better results a little bit quicker. So we're gonna start with the microfiber and the 36. Okay, so we're gonna do another tape line right down the middle of the roof. The roof is pretty bad, as you can expect. So there's a little bit of haziness still, so I'm gonna hit it with some 38 and a fine finishing pad just to get rid of the haziness. Pretty good. All right, the car is all polished. Paint's looking good. It may need a few little touch-up spots here and there, but it is completely polished. So, I also got my hood back from paint. Doesn't look the best, but let's get it on the car and see how it looks up there. So doing this on my own, so I've got a pad back here that I can rest the hood on, and hopefully I'll be able to slide it into the slots. So let's get that hood on. All right, now we'll just adjust it back to where it was and tighten down these 14s. Those are not 14s. I think it's a 13. That's a 13. All right. Perfect. Yeah, this thing still needs to be wet sanded, but I don't know. It does not look that good. We'll see after wet sanding and polishing. But all the body lines are good. Got it all lined back up how it should be. Okay, now we're gonna put the headlights in. We'll start with the driver over here. We'll just slide it into place. This one, unfortunately, did not come out as well as the other one. There's still some cracks. It looks a lot better than it did, but it's not perfect. We'll just leave that a little loose for now until we get the other one started. So this hardware here, there is an adjustment that will spread that apart, which will tilt the headlight up, or suck it in together, which will tilt the headlight down. And I didn't notice it until just now, so I'm not sure where it should be. But what you do is you spin this back ring, and it will screw that adjuster in and out. So we'll have to see when we get our bumper put back on to see if it needs to be adjusted or not. So if you're taking them in and out, make sure to keep these in the correct position. All right, now let's set the bumper up there. Clip onto here. These clips here, you got to make sure the bumper goes underneath those. And then you've got one little clip here on the headlight. And then here, this lip has to go inside this lip of the headlight right there. So just like that. Same with over here. Couple of clips that hold the bottom in. Okay, and there is a rubber seal. Other than my handprints, I think that looks good. I don't know if this gap right here is a little bit big. This one looks good up front. Okay, now we need to get the wheel liners back on. Also connect the fog lights and the headlights. And I do want to do a wipe down after I get the wheel liner in of the suspension. So let's get the headlights hooked up. Let's get the wheel liner in and the wheels back on. All right, let's hook the fog light back up. There's that, the headlight, right there. Just put a little bit of anti-seize here for the next guy. All right, I'm gonna go around and put all the wheels back on, spray all of the wheel wells like I did here, and we'll come back. So I still haven't gotten all the covers that go up underneath here, but I do have one that goes here, and then there's a small one that goes here. I think I found a car that has these ones on it. I just need to go pick them up. So let's put these two small ones on. This one's got, I think it's like the ambient air temperature sensor. Just wiping some of this undercarriage stuff off. Okay. All right, I just put this new cowl cover back in. I didn't hit record, but I got the cowl cover put back in. These are the original side covers here, just cleaning them up a little bit. The new cowl cover did not come with these two plugs here. I pulled them out of the old one, so don't ever get rid of your old parts until you're done with the project, because you might need something like that. Just these two little rubber plugs, for some reason, did not come with the new cover. Now we need to get the windshield wipers put back on, and the engine bay is pretty much done. All right, everyone, that's gonna do it for today's video. We refinished the headlights, deep cleaned the engine bay and undercarriage, did a paint enhancement, and had the hood and front bumper repaired and repainted. I am about 95% done with this project. There's just a few small minor details left before this 320i F30 is ready to be sold. So thank you all for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you all in the next video.